However, the voices of those civilians are not often getting heard. RT's Miguel Francis Santiago looks at the twists and turns in a lot of the Western news.
Imagine, if you're mainstream media, how will you report on an ongoing conflict in the Middle East? Now, there's a simple MSM algorithm. You're given a few questions to which you can only answer yes or no. That moves you further down the level. It's really an easy game. The first question is, are there terrorists inside the city? If no, then you're done, nothing to report on. But if the answer is yes, then you move on down to the next question. Are there civilians suffering inside the city? If no, then you don't have a story again. But if the answer is yes, then you're given the next question. Did the government of that particular country ask you for help? If the answer is yes, then the next question, is it Aleppo? And if you answer yes to that one, then this is how you report on it.
It started with this unprecedented bombing that we saw this campaign, a few days of really intense bombardment of eastern Aleppo, where hundreds of people were killed.
But again and again, bombs are killing and wounding civilians, including children.
Especially in Aleppo. 250,000 people are trapped in that city.
As the discussions go on at the UN, Syrian regime airstrikes continue to kill civilians in Aleppo.
Tested and approved. Now, if it's not Aleppo, then it has to be Mosul. And unlike Aleppo, over 60 nations were invited there. So this is how you report on that.
The battle has begun to retake Mosul from so-called Islamic State. Iraqi forces alongside Kurdish fighters are leading the push to expel thousands of extremists.
Iraqi and Kurdish troops are not being distracted, and they're preparing for their next major push.
U.S. air support with that boost in confidence. And as they moved forward and got closer to Mosul, they told us that not only did they feel, yes, more confident in their own capabilities, but that they also saw ISIS to a certain degree beginning to change its tactics.
In the American-supported campaign to take back the city of Mosul from ISIS, President Obama said today what troops on the front lines have already discovered, it is going to be a difficult fight.
Oh, wait, let's rewind. We forgot to see what happens if the answer to this question is no. Then the only answer is Raqqa. No one's been invited there, not a single nation. Despite that, the U.S. decided that, well, since we're liberating Mosul in Iraq, we might as well liberate Raqqa in Syria.
I certainly am encouraged by the results of our campaign so far. We, as members of the coalition, resolved to follow through with that same sense of urgency and focus on enveloping and collapsing ISIL's control over Raqqa as well. In fact, we've already begun laying the groundwork with our partners to commence the isolation of Raqqa. As we meet here, we're helping to generate the local forces that will do so.
Now, if you don't know yet how to report on Raqqa, just stick to the Mosul script. I'm Miguel Francis Santiago.